You hired a virtual assistant. They seemed great in the interview. Good energy, said all the things right. You were excited. 2 months later, you're doing all the work again, plus fixing their mistakes. Sounds familiar? Here's the truth nobody tells you. You didn't hire wrong. You were given outdated advice from the beginning. The hire a VA for $2 an hour from the Philippines playbook. That's 2010 advice. The just post on Upwork and pick someone cheap strategy doesn't work anymore. And the idea that you can hire someone for 5 hours a week and they will magically read your mind and run your business, that's not hiring, that's hoping. Today, I'm going to show you the actual playbook for hiring the virtual assistant in 2026. One that doesn't waste your time, burn your money, or leave you more stressed than when you started. This is the same system we use at HireUA to place top-tier remote talent with online businesses, and by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to do it yourself. So let's dive in. Let's start with what changed. Because if you are still following advice from 2010, you need to understand why it's broken. Back then, remote work was rare. The talent pool in traditional outsourcing countries was small and motivated. If you hired someone from Philippines or India or Pakistan, they were genuinely excited to work with Western clients. The competition was low and the quality was high. But then COVID happened, and suddenly everyone went remote. Every company in the world started hiring overseas. The talent pool didn't just grow, it got flooded. And here's what most people didn't realize. In traditional outsourcing countries, the population is massive, hundreds of millions of people, and English is often an official language. When remote work exploded, suddenly you had tens of millions of people applying for the same jobs. You are not competing for the best anymore. You are shifting through an ocean of applications from people who say they can speak English but can't actually communicate clearly. People who watched a YouTube tutorial on how to become a VA and think that's enough. People who are applying for 47 jobs at once and will ghost you the second they get a better offer. Now contrast that with Eastern Europe and Latin America. Smaller populations, fewer people claiming to be VAs. But here's the key. In these countries, if someone speaks fluent English, we're talking about C1 or C2 level. It's because they were genuinely interested in West. They didn't just check a box on a form. They watched American movies, they studied the language, they choose to position themselves for Western opportunities. That level of intentionality, that's what separates a great hire from a mediocre one. And here's the thing. We are not saying that traditional outsourcing countries are bad. We are saying the dynamics have changed. The motivated, high-quality talent, they're getting snatched up fast or they're charging what they're worth. The $2 an hour candidates left over, they're not going to save you time. They're going to cost you time. So, if you want someone who actually cares, who communicates clearly, who takes ownership, you need to look where everyone else isn't looking. That's Eastern Europe and that's Latin America. And that's where we've built our entire network at HireUA. And look, if you're watching this thinking all the advice out there is for traditional outsourcing countries, where do I even start to find talent from these other regions? That's literally what we do at HireUA. We've built our entire network in Eastern Europe and Latin America, specifically for online businesses like yours. You tell us what you need, we find the right person from the right market. You skip years of trial and error. Check us out at HireUA.com, links in the description. But whether you work with us or do it yourself, here is the step-by-step process that actually works. Alright, let's break down how to actually hire a virtual assistant the right way. Step 1. Get clear on what you actually need. Before you post a job, you need to understand what you are hiring for. And I don't mean I need help, I mean what specific tasks are eating your time right now. Here's how you figure it out. For 1 week, track everything you do. Every email, every admin task, every piece of content you schedule. Then ask yourself, does this require my brain, or could someone else do this with clear instructions? Everything in that second category, that's your delegate list. Most business owners spend 60-70% of their time on repeatable work. Things like inbox management, scheduling meetings, data entry, social media posting, customer support, CRM updates, editing, and formatting documents. None of that requires you, but it does require someone. When you see that list written out, you realize how much high-value time you've been given HireUA. Step 2. Write a job description that filters. Once you know what to delegate, get specific about what you need. There is a huge difference between a general VA who handles admin, a social media manager who creates content, and a project manager who runs operations. The clearer you are, the better your candidates will be. Vague posts like "looking for a hard-working VA" attract vague people. But when you say, "I need someone who can manage my inbox in Gmail, schedule client calls via Calendly, update our CRM in HubSpot, and handle basic customer support through Intercom," you've just filtered out 90% of wrong people. Include the tools they will use, the hours you need and time zone, the type of work, admin, creative, strategic, and your communication style. That clarity is the first secret to a good hire. Step 3. Where to actually find great candidates. So where do you post this job? If you're doing it yourself, here's what works. For Eastern Europe, LinkedIn, search by location plus skills. We work remotely, remote OK, local job boards like Prasush.pl, Poland, WorkUA in Ukraine, No Fluff Jobs, Poslovi Infostut in Serbia. For Latin America, LinkedIn, again filter by country, remote.co, Get on Board, Latin America Focus, and local Facebook groups for remote workers. Avoid Upwork and Fiverr unless you want to spend 40 hours sifting through applications. The best candidates aren't fighting for $3 per hour gigs. They're on platforms where serious businesses hire. Step 4. How to interview the right way. Here's where most people mess up. They interview someone, the person sounds nice, and they hire based on vibes. We don't do that. At HireUA, every candidate goes through a 7-step internal scoring system built by our founder, an American who's lived and hired overseas for almost a decade. We score candidates on hard skills. Can they actually use the tools? Soft skills. Do they communicate clearly? Problem solving. Can they think on their feet? Initiative. Will they anticipate your needs or wait to be told everything? Alignment with your values. Do they actually care about the work? Because here's the truth. Skills get job done, but values make it last. When you're interviewing, focus on their communication style. Are they clear and proactive? Their past experience. What tools have they actually used? Their problem-solving approach. Give them a hypothetical scenario and see how they would handle it. Their questions for you. Do they ask thoughtful questions or just wait to be told what to do? The interview is your chance to see if they think like an owner or just a task executor. Step 5. Make the hire. Once you'll find the right person, make it official. Send a clear contract that outlines hours and pay, communication expectations, daily check-ins, weekly syncs, tools and access they will need, 30-day trial period, 90-day probation. This gives both of you time to make sure it's the right fit without a huge long-term commitment upfront. And then, this is critical, onboard them properly. We'll talk about that in a second, but first, let's talk about what not to do. Because I see the same mistakes over and over, and they all stem from the same root problem: mismatched expectations. Mistake number 1: hiring the cheapest person you can find. Look, I get it. You want to save money, but here's the reality. You get what you pay for. You don't pay Toyota Camry prices and expect to get the performance of the latest Ferrari or Lamborghini. If you're paying someone $2-3 an hour, you're not getting an owner. You're getting a task executor. And there is nothing bad with task executor if you want that. But most business owners want someone who thinks, someone who takes initiative, someone who sees a problem and fixes it before you even notice. That person doesn't cost $2 an hour. In 2026, a great VA in Eastern Europe or Latin America costs $1,500 or $2,000 a month for full-time work. And they are worth every penny because they don't just save you time, they make you money. Mistake number 2: no clear onboarding process. You hired someone, you gave them logins, you said, figure this out. 2 weeks later, nothing's working. And that's not their fault, that's yours. Even the smartest VA can't read your mind. You need to show them how you like things done, where files are stored, what good looks like, what to do when they're stuck. Record Loom videos, create a simple onboarding doc, walk them through your systems. The 2-3 hours you spent upfront will save you 20 hours of confusion later. Mistake number 3: infrequent communication. One of the biggest mistakes business owners make is thinking they can hire someone, check in once a month, and everything will just work. it won't. You can't expect someone to execute for 30 days with no direction, no feedback, no course correction. That's not management. That's just throwing things at the wall and hoping they will stick. When you bring on a new team member, meet with them daily, same time, every day for the first 6 weeks. Why? Because it shortens the feedback loop. You fix things in real time. You sync priorities. By week 6, they will be fully autonomous. That's how you build a relationship that lasts. If you're not willing to show up for your team, don't expect them to show up for you. Mistake number 4, expecting a strategist at executor prices. This is the disconnect that burns people the most. You're paying someone $500 a month and expecting them to run your entire marketing strategy. That's not realistic. At $800 a month, you get someone who follows instructions well, executes tasks consistently, needs clear direction. At $1,500, $2,000 per month, you get someone who anticipates problems, suggests improvements, and takes ownership. Both are valuable, but you have to know which one you are hiring for. The frustration happens when you pay for one and expect the other. Let me tell you about one of our favorite success stories. There is a client at HireUA named Marcus. He runs a company called The Birdhouse, a social media and LinkedIn growth agency. Back in late 2022, he came to HireUA looking for help. He was doing everything himself, writing tweets, managing clients, onboarding, customer success, everything. He needed someone who could take things off his plate, but he also needed someone he could trust. HireUA matched him with Sofia, a VA from Poland. When Sofia started with Marcus, she handled basic tasks: client onboarding, email management, organizing content files. But here's what happened. Sofia didn't just execute, she owned it. She started noticing patterns, anticipating problems, suggesting improvements, and Marcus noticed. Within 6 months, he promoted her to operations manager. She now manages all client success, all onboarding and offboarding, content organization and approval, team communication, client satisfaction. She's basically running the client-facing side of the business. And here is the best part. A few months ago, Marcus posted this on Twitter. Normalize promoting your VA to OPS manager, flying across the world to meet them, treating them like a partner, and scheming a multi-year company vision with them. That tweet went absolutely viral. And yes, he actually flew from the US to Warsaw, Poland, just to meet her in person and plan the next few years of the company. That's not just a hire, that's a partnership. When HireUA did their case study with Marcus in April 2023, the Birdhouse was doing maybe $20,000–$30,000 a month. Last year, they did over $1 million in revenue, and this year they are on track to do even more. And Marcus will tell you, Sofia is a huge reason why. Because when you get the right person, someone who cares, who takes ownership, who grows with you, they don't just save you time, they unlock your next level of growth. All right, you've hired the right person. You've onboarded them properly. Now what? Here's how you manage them for the long term and how you scale beyond just one VA. Phase 1, daily check-ins. For the first 6 weeks, meet every single day. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's not micromanagement, it's shortening the feedback loop. Keep it up to 15 minutes. What did you work on yesterday? What are you working on today? Do you have any blockers? That's it. This is where you catch mistakes early, where you clarify expectations, where they learn your standards. By week 6, they will know exactly how you think, and you won't need to meet every day. Phase 2, weekly syncs. Once they're up to speed, move to weekly check-ins. Use this time to review what's working and what's not, plan the week ahead, give feedback, and celebrate wins. This is also where you start giving them more autonomy. Let them make decisions. Let them run with projects. Let them surprise you. The best VAs don't just execute. They improve your systems. Phase 3, autonomy. By month 6, if you've hired right, managed well, your VA should be running on autopilot. You check in weekly, maybe bi-weekly. They know what good looks like. They know when to ask for help. They know how to prioritize. This is when they stop being your VA and start being your OPC manager. And this is when you start thinking about scaling. Scaling beyond one VA. Here's the beautiful thing about hiring a great VA. Once they understand your business, they can help you hire the next person. Sofia helped Marcus build out the entire team. She knows what good looks like, she knows the standards, she can interview, onboard, and train new hires. That's how you go from one VA helping you to a team of 3-5 people running operations to you focusing purely on strategy and growth. But it's all started with getting the first hire right. Look, hiring a VA doesn't have to be a gamble. You don't have to waste months posting on Upwork, sifting through hundreds of applications, interviewing people who ghost you, and starting all over again. That's the old way. At HireUA, we've built a beta system. We source top-tier remote talent from Eastern Europe and Latin America, people who actually care, communicate clearly, and take ownership. We vet them through our 7-step scoring process so you don't have to. And we match them with your business based on what you actually need, not just who's cheapest. Whether you need a VA, a project manager, a creative assistant, or an OPS manager like Sophia, we'll find the right person. You focus on growing your business, we'll handle the hiring. So go to HireUA.com and book a call with our team. Let's get you the help you actually need. If that was helpful, smash that like button, subscribe for more videos on building remote teams, and drop a comment below what's the one task you wish you could delegate right now. We read every comment and we might even make a video about it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.